Every day, Ruth Friendly leaves her home in Riverdale, New York, to go to work at the Columbia School of Journalism.
I love going down to Columbia. I do go in. I work through lunch, and I'm usually there until 6. I think it's great to keep working.
At 83, Ruth is a widow, but her late husband is still a daily part of her life. She is vice president for the seminar series named after him.
Fred had said something like, when love and work are one, that's how the world's work gets done.
Fred is Fred Friendly, the legendary CBS newsman. He was Edward R. Murrow's producer. They were the first television journalists to take on Senator Joseph McCarthy's anti-communist crusade, an event depicted by the film Good Night and Good Luck.
The actions of the junior senator from Wisconsin have caused alarm and dismay amongst our allies abroad and given considerable comfort to our enemies. Good night and good luck.
The two pioneered the television documentary with news reports like The Harvest of Shame.
This is the way the humans who harvest the food for the best-fed people in the world get hired. One farmer looked at this and said, "We used to own our slaves. Now we just rent them."
After Murrow's death in 1965, Friendly spent 2 tumultuous years as president of CBS News. He finally quit in 1968 in protest of the network's decision to air reruns of I Love Lucy instead of congressional hearings about Vietnam.
He always felt if he didn't get out then, he would have been nibbled to death by ducks.
In 1968, Friendly became a teacher at Columbia. A father of 3, he was introduced that year to a recently widowed teacher and mother of 3.
I have to say, we had a torrid romance, and we had a great time together.
Ruth returned to her 5th grade classroom, and Fred went on to forge a generation of journalists at Columbia. He was famous for pushing students to think through ethical and civic problems.
He was great in finding these agony quotients. He was always after. That's what the term he gave. Where's the agony quotient, he would say, and I've picked all that up.
In the early 70s, he created a seminar series to confront prominent leaders with pressing ethical, legal, and public policy dilemmas.
Fred conceived of a way, how do we get people to talk to each other instead of shout past each other? And what he said, what he envisioned was setting up some kind of a situation, a hypothetical situation that really mirrored reality, that people could identify with.
Now you want diversification. Who are you going to select? Ray?
I've had it.
Or Handler?
I'm down the tubes. I'll withdraw. I won't even put myself forward.
Supposing you were black. He's white. We're all for diversification. Does that change your mind?
Ruth had always helped Fred from behind the scenes, but in 1982, she left her teaching job and came on full-time.
We're looking for those conflicts where both sides are right and neither side appreciates the other.
They hoped that the seminars might help each side understand the other's perspective and find points of agreement. This seminar about whether judges should be elected featured liberal Congressman Barney Frank and conservative Justice Antonin Scalia.
And I agree with, I think,
Barney agrees with that.
It was rewarding for us to go walk out with Barney Frank, who was said to us, you know, I can't believe it, but here I am actually agreeing with Justice Scalia.
Fred and Ruth led hundreds of such seminars across the country. Some were broadcast on public television, but most were put together for client organizations ranging from local colleges to the World Bank. And so a school teacher became a producer.
As he was Murrow's producer, there I was producing Fred, and I had to do it with gloves on.
Fred could be big, boisterous, volcanic at times. And that Ruth is more diplomatic.
Fred Friendly died in 1998 after a series of strokes and several lifetimes' worth of achievements. Always off-camera as a producer, Fred was introduced to a mass audience in the 2005 film Good Night and Good Luck. He was played by George Clooney.
Someone said, come on, I'll introduce you to Clooney. And we go over there, and he is so damn handsome. I mean, much better than even in film. And with just these twinkling eyes, you know. But I said to George, you know, you're probably a lot better looking than Fred, but you're nowhere as near as noisy.
We are going with a story that says that the U.S. Air Force tried Milo Radulovich without one shred of evidence and found him guilty of being a security risk.
There was one scene in the film where Fred is talking to the two Army colonels.
Might have a better idea of what makes someone a danger to his country, or do you think it should just be you that decides?
Who are the people? Are they elected? Are they appointed? Do they have an axe to grind? Is it you, sir, or you, Colonel Jenkins?
You feel that. You feel some of Fred's personality in that.
Ruth thinks today's media should be tougher.
They've got to stiffen their spine a little. We just went through a situation. I mean, if you think of how we got in this war, and it got so, you know, no one was really pushing. Maybe now you see some pushing and talking about it. But, I mean, I think journalism was soft, and I think it was cowed.
But Ruth is not mired in the past.
I love technology. I'm a techie. I'm not great, but I'm great for an octogenarian.
She stays in touch with her family over Skype and follows her grandchildren's exploits online, including one who has danced herself to YouTube fame.
Cute. She's got a whole lot of these. So this is just 13 hours ago. Still awesome. Or it sucks, you know. You got all kinds of things.
Ruth is not just an online observer. Last year she ventured onto the virtual world of Second Life to see if it was a place to promote the Fred-friendly seminars.
I get myself an avatar, and I have a name, and I was going in, and I was Ruth Shue, I think that was my name. And I didn't know what I was doing until I discovered how to move, how to fly, how to go. And where was I? Always in Korea or some crazy island. And I try and go into crowds and start a conversation. Hi, how are you? Where are you from? What do you do? Oh, I do some programs for television. I said, well, how old are you? And he said, 27. And he said, how old are you? I said, a lot older. He said, how old? And I said, 45. And then I'm sitting there thinking, how do I know how old he is, who he is, whether he's a man or a woman? And it sort of gave me great insight into the whole Second Life thing.
In between organizing seminars, Ruth is focused on how best to get their message onto the internet. She says she has no plans to retire and will continue working to bring Fred's legacy to a new audience.
I miss him most when we have these tough decisions to make. Also, his presence is felt very strong. I feel his presence. I'm often looking at tapes, and there he is, yakking away. But I'm going to go the rest of the way on my own.